Good morning, everybody. So I apologize. Well, let me set this up really quick on the baseball. Thank you, Dad. Love you. I miss you. You're still here, right? Anthony, I love you too. I feel you kind of communion too a little bit. Holy Spirit stuff. I love you. Beautiful. Hi, girls. So, guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, I am the Mr.Codebreak. So, yesterday I ended up veering off into psychology with the Marvel Universe idea. And it's really universe psychology, the word universe, and how that can relate to psychology and the Marvel Universe, really. So I thought it was pretty interesting. I hope you all liked it, whoever liked it, if not, I enjoyed making it. Next up is, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. I missed, the game I want to do VGM Mondays, because I still love video games, I'd love to stick to that and share that with the world, our generation, millennials, the next gen, and stuff like that, the kids. And even us, and even the people older, the previous generation. Because video games are the new movies to me. And that doesn't mean you destroy movies or radio, which is still there forever because people love radio. People love movies. It's like classical music. That's the road movies are going down where people are fearing that movies are dying. Many of you may think that. No, they're just heading into eternity. And you think of Mozart and stuff like that. And I'll shout out to Rizzy here if that's okay. Shout out, who might have shout out? And I believe he has a new album with the Colorado Symphony. Colorado Symphony, RZA, Colorado Symphony, and Christopher Dragon. Those names really stood out. So I only read it once or twice, if that. And it's amazing how I remembered all those names. Colorado Symphony comes to mind. I've heard of them. The RZA, of course, being from Staten Island, but Christopher Dragon. That's a pretty Mozart-esque name. Could go down in history. It's a big name, huh? Christopher Dragon Slayer, right? Why not? Gives you an idea that he's a bit of a gamer maybe. Nerd, I'm sorry to say that. Maybe fantasy-esque into classical music. So anyway, let's cap off this tangent with how movies could be going into eternity. But that's really Broadway maybe, right? I could be wrong. But why not movies too, right? Yeah. That's an interesting note. As we have people in the movie industry coming to games now, that we're seeing how that's working, and how Nobuo Uematsu, is still on tangent here, is trying to relay the love of the game and the music to our life itself, and love between man and woman, and family. And that's why Nobuo Uematsu is probably the greatest composer of our time. And in my opinion, I think he will be. You just feel him when you say his name. It's wild, yeah. And that's all into relation of history and mistakes made by the world. So we love you, Nobuo Uematsu, the RZA, and everybody else out there. J Sox, yeah, I love you, yeah. Mom, Dana, I love you too. So Baldur's Gate, Shadows of Am is the game I really want to talk about. And for the kids, so my nephew specifically comes to mind, and the other young boys out there that may like some fantasy and a little bit of medieval stuff. Shadows of Am, Baldur's Gate 2. I played this game. I'm getting into the psychology a little bit of how I felt. And then I guess, just a few things that came to mind. It's a good game. It's when the isometric, they call it, which is kind of an isometric, over-the-top view where you point and click. Very, very similar to Diablo, except Baldur's Gate and these Dungeons and Dragons-based games that came out during this time that I played with some very good friends that I love very much, and God bless them and their families as well, and their future children and spouses, right? Icewind Dale, Planescape Torment, Baldur's Gate. Those three games kind of come to mind, and I think that associates with Larian Studios, that was Black Isle Studios, and eventually into Baldur's Gate 3, which is, doing really, really well. So I played Baldur's Gate 2, and I may not have time to play Baldur's Gate 3, but I would like to. I'd love to share that with my spouse or a beautiful woman, love, and maybe through the kids to see, because if the parents play, we see what's going on, and then we can relay that, is this good for the children? And it's just interesting to share that with a woman, I would say, and you would hope, but you don't have to, not necessarily, just throwing the idea into the collective mind pool. How does your mind react to these things? Do you even like it? Should I play this part, or can you play it for me and I get the same energy off it, the same, need that that brain sponge feeling, or let's say, from a video game. And with Zelda Echoes coming out, I really am excited for that as well. But you might be able to get that through your kids and your spouse and family, rather than having to sit there for 40 hours playing the game. Because that's the way my mind works. So Shadows of Am, once again, played when I was a kid. I believe video games are still very good, and even if not even better, balance is crucial. Of course, we want to eventually become balanced. But how is playing video games not studying? You're reading, you're learning art, you're studying at the end of the day. And maybe it's the best male form of study. So I remember my sister having a party one night, and we were very young, and I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go, and it hurt me because it was like, why am I not outside with the other kids, you know? And I did that to my nephew recently. I really should work on that as well. Why isn't he playing with everybody? Well, he wants to just be in the room at the time. Maybe he's thinking of something. Sorry, my mom's calling, and I hope it's not that important. And I was very immature at the time, and my dad kind of got on me. Why isn't he outside, you know? But and that gives you trauma at the point. Well, why is he making a big deal? I'm just playing this video game, you know? So you have to take it easier as a parent, as an adult, too. Especially when you love the children and your kids, your family, the kids in your family, as an uncle, as a father, as a man, really, as an adult and a man, really, to relay that good, healthy growth energy to your nephew or niece or nephew or your children. So I was about 12 or 13, and a very beautiful woman bought this game for me at the time, and I was very happy for that. And a Green Day song comes to mind called Bobby Socks. I'm not really sure why, but that's a good one. Yeah, thank the Lord. That's a, you know, that's a, like mystery, joyful mystery stuff, right? So that game, I was very happy she gave it to me. It was just a surprise. Of course, other thoughts came to my mind, but I'm sorry for that. That's a white rose, right? I love you. Thank you very much. It was a good watering the plants, in my opinion. And why not? You know, so I enjoyed the game. I was upset, but basically because of what my dad said. That's really the way the world works, you know. And I was upset. I wanted to be with the other kids, you know, but I was scared. I was immature. I was like, I want to play this game, you know, and learn about this game right now. I'm 12 or 13 years old at this time, maybe 14, if that. And I'm on my PC, and I love my room and my PC, you know. And maybe I was 15. I could 16 tops. I don't know. I was a teenager, but a young teenager. 12 to the youngest, yeah. 16, 17 to the oldest. And yeah, it was a little party. So maybe 15, 16. Once again, sorry he keeps saying the age there. I'm sorry. I love you all. And yeah, I wanted to, you know, I was too immature to go out there. But was it immaturity, or was it I didn't want to be partying with these kids screaming and yelling? Think about that. Very important. So let me decline one more time, my mom. So yeah, I didn't want to be partying. I didn't want to be. I wanted to be studying, and then eventually, you know, which I call studying now, which I believe it is. Why not? And yeah, so I like this game, and to end it short, as my mom's calling here. That was why. That was what that was about. I think it's studying. And there are ways in the game. There's lots of quests and stories that you learn how to read, and it's the way the minds of the developers or creators unraveled an item. Like the Moonlight Sword comes to mind specifically here, and it was just a great animation. And they had fire swords too, I assume. I remember sharing this with my two friends that I played the game with. How cool the Moonlight Sword was. And Ian, I believe, one of the characters named a good mage. Edwin was an evil mage. You know, Edwin was lawful evil, which I called him Edwin the Unlawful. Made a little joke online with that. I hope my mom's all right now. So yeah, and the way the companies in the games they'll mix the lore, the art, the character design, and the voice acting and everything into the Moonlight Sword, you know? And you see art when you get to Moonlight Sword. How did you find the Moonlight Sword? What's this Moonlight Sword about? And that's a quest. And it's beautiful and it's fun. That's what the game is, and how you unravel somebody's mind. Where it gets into the real world is life. And yeah, you want to spread the life. So that's why man, woman at the end, divinity, faith, Catholicism to me, and psychology. So it's a great game. But once again, you know, you're hoping that it doesn't, you know, you're into a man's mind, or even what could be a woman too, but you're in their mind from too far away. You want to see them, feel them, to have and to hold, right? I love you.